everyone. Welcome to Beasnael. We are not the same. Here is the rest of continuance of a conversation with Sandra, Izsadore, and Fernando Pullum. I really hope that you enjoy a world into philanthropy and a world into being a positive social activist. Ladies and gentlemen, part two of a conversation with Sandra, Izsadore, and Fernando Pullum.
Hi, Natalie.
Oh,
How are you today?
I am great. Thank you. Now I know. Look at that beautiful background and this hair that you have.
Yeah, well, just call it the pandemic.
That's the pandemic. Well, let's have more.
This is the pandemic.
This is the pandemic. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what we're talking about, we are here today during these hard times for some. And for the rest, I think there's a little bit more that goes into what we're going through right now in terms of the pandemic, COVID-19. But we will not focus on that right now, right? We
No, we're not.
we're not because we have so much to talk about. Wow, what a year. Um, you have been quite an activist throughout the years. Can you elaborate about some of the things that have actually pushed you to become an activist?
Well, being born
Mhm.
and reared in America, and your parents basically hiding the historical truth about America from you,
Mm,
and then at an early age moving into an all-white neighborhood,
wow.
that was where I knew and began to see that I was different. All of my little playmates were white.
Interesting. Well, I think we sometimes have changed, and I think in the setting that we are now in 2020, I think there's been a little bit more of, or could I say, of everyone has become one. Would you say that, or how? What do you see in today's society?
Well, what I see is, well, I see more prosperity on one end,
Mm,
but there has been um, here, I guess, throughout the world,
right.
because Black people have been disenfranchised.
Mm,
There has been a disrespect because of the lies
yes.
that were put out there about us, and our story
Right.
that was stolen and became his story.
Yes.
So because of the lack of truth also came disrespect.
Mm. You said two words that actually hit home for me: the lies and disrespect. And I think it's become a way of life for a lot of us, not only here in America, but also in Africa. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you see with that?
Well, what I see, Natalie
Mhm.
Beasnael,
We're not the same. Yeah.
yes, is the divisiveness
Mm.
that was already there. It was already there. And due to, I would say, poor presidential leadership,
Mhm.
or it may have been what is being called for at this time in our growth and development, so
Right.
that we can grow and expand and become more of those spiritual beings
Mhm.
about love and caring,
Mm.
instead of this divisiveness that has been created. And the divisiveness was created due to lies that were taught.
Yes. Yes. No, well said.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I see the same happening today.
Yes.
Um, same thing happening today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
And
in today's world,
yes.
basically, we have the one-eyed monster, which was also one called the prejudice against my black skin. So
Mm-hmm.
it's still that one-eyed monster
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that, and the one-eyed monster is the television and
Mm-hmm.
the lies that are being told
Mm.
are, you see, they hire program directors.
Mm.
And the whole purpose of hiring a program director
Mm-hmm.
is to lock
Right.
to a way of thinking.
Right.
Once they get
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
discernment,
Mm-hmm.
that's not an easy job. And
No.
see, that was my mission when I met Fela.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was just for to level the playing field, to
Mm.
bring knowledge to the table,
Mm-hmm.
not only bring knowledge, but bring awareness, not to go down certain roads.
Right.
But it seems as though um, people are easily duped
Right. Right.
and deceived,
Mm.
and they'd rather collectively believe the lie than look at the truth. And
Right.
a long time ago, I saw in a film where he said, "You can't deal with the truth."
Right.
Well, Natalie
Mm.
Beasnael,
You say it so well.
I have.
Mm.
I want to make sure I get all those syllables in. I want to make sure
Mm.
that with this trend of thought,
Right.
pattern where we are today with this divisiveness, that we have to at some point
Mm-hmm.
recognize how we're all being manipulated.
Mm. Mm. Wow. I mean, I learned so much within just what you told me, and my mind was just, going and thinking, wow, there's so much that has brought us to where we are now. But you mentioned a name that I think all of the diaspora and America also knows. You mentioned the name of Fela. And I have a little secret. I'm holding a book here that you wrote called Fela and Me. So your floor. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this book because I read it and oh boy.
The inspiration behind Fella and Me
Yes.
comes from the late Shagun Oyekunle,
Mm,
who I was blessed and honored
mm,
that he came into my life. And he came into my life because of Fela. Um, Shagun was a film director,
yes.
also the CEO and managing director of the Abuja Film Festival,
Mm,
working in a government capacity. After he left the United States,
oh
he
wow.
went back to Africa and he was given that position.
Mm, mhm,
Um, well, Shagun was the one who inspired me. He he wanted to do a film. It goes back as far as I would say 2000. I would say 2006, 2000, between 2006 and 2008.
Wow.
Shagun came to me because at that time, the film Muhammad Ali
Yes.
had been released, and Will Smith played the lead role.
Yes.
And Shagun says, well, Sandra, I really want to do this movie. I want to do it on you in relationship to Fela. And Will Smith would be the perfect person to play Fela. Well, that was just, talk, two people talking over tea.
Yes.
Well, that talk did manifest itself. And how it manifested itself was within the Broadway musical.
Yes.
Fela on Broadway.
Yes.
And it came about through Steve Hendel.
Steve Hendel.
A Jewish man who, during his years at the university, was introduced to Fela music, fell in love with the Fela music, married a woman who did, her thing was Broadway production. She's done a lot of work on Broadway.
Wow.
Steve, on the other hand, businessman, oil commodities. Anyway, Steve loved the music. And I guess, I think it was like a project that he wanted to do this Broadway musical, and he wanted to do it well.
Wow.
So he hired people in the industry to help him develop the idea. Plus, with Carlos Moore's book,
yes,
Fela Fela C'est Boutin, or the French, or the English, Fela Fela This Bitch of a Life.
Oh.
And I happen to be chapter 10 in that book. In that particular book, it's that's Fela speaking directly. What Carlos Moore did when we were in Paris.
Oh, wow.
He interviewed each and every one of the wives and myself, and his talk with Fela was ongoing. So these are Fela's words. Okay. So that's an authentic book.
Wow.
Another book that was written that I really like, and it's written by, I call him ID. Okay. ID wrote the book, and the title of that book is Why Black Men Carry Shit. And that book is in, I got a copy of it from the Smithsonian. That was some years ago. That this journalist brought to me. The journalist at that time was writing for a magazine called Mean, a magazine, and he interviewed a lot of musicians along the way. But it is Fela, and you have to read the book in order because I'd be talking for a long time.
Literally, ladies and gentlemen, Beasnael, We're Not the Same. This book, Fela and Me, is an easy read, but it's one of those books that I noticed that I couldn't drop it. I couldn't put it down. I read it on a plane, actually, and thank God I had the time. But if you do not have the time, trust me, when you just open one page, it's like a movie in itself. I mean, it's very, very descriptive, and you take us on a journey from when you met Fela, from the history of Nigeria, the beautiful parts of the diaspora, and then you take us into this world of wow, music. And what music means. I mean, thank you for this book.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, what did you think? That was Sandra Izsadore and Fernando Pullum. Tune in next week where we learn all about Yoni pearls with the fabulous treasure gems.
Our people have suffered and been abused. We've been used and lied to.